You know, I was asked this question in one of my YouTube videos in the notes section, right? Because I just love my commenters and I read the comments on my shit. And one of the questions that she asked was, which do I think is better to be right now in current time? A purchase loan officer or a refinance loan officer? And it was a very, very interesting question because I don't think I've ever really actually answered that. I don't think I've given my 2 cents on that. And I plan to do so within this video. So if you're a new loan officer and you're making a lot of moves, you're doing all the actions, you're following all the instructions, and maybe you've been doing it for like 3 or 6 months and you just haven't seen the return that you expected to see, or at least in comparison to the other agents around you, and you're wondering, like, am I in the right spot? Like, if that's ever, you know, pondered in your mind, then I think you definitely need to watch this video, because this is going to open your eyes in regards to where you're putting your time today. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel and I'm your host. And in this episode, I'm going to answer the question of which I think is better, being a purchase loan agent or a refinance loan agent. And the reason why I think this is important is because I'm noticing more and more with those students who are already enrolled within the Sales Remastered Academy is that in most cases, you know, loan officers can do both. They have the option to do both refinance and purchase, but because of their environment and because of their influence, or because maybe their manager suggests that they do so, they only focus on one. So even though they can do refinance, they may be on a purchase team, and so they just simply don't pay attention to the refinance business that they have or they could have had. And on the flip side, the same exact thing on the refinance team. So refinance team, you know, you have the option to purchase, but for whatever reason, you know, maybe you're influenced to only focus on refinance, even though you can do purchase business. And then there are some agents who just can't do both. Like, they just have to stick to one. And so whether you're limited or whether you have, you know, freedom to do both, I think this video is going to be very helpful for you, because I have a ton of experience and I work within a platform that's nationwide. We do a substantial amount of business on both sides, refinance and purchase. And I'm surrounded by about 200, you know, salesmen on both sides. So some play hybrid, some play just refinance, some play just purchase. And I think that the insight that I'm going to give you is really going to help you identify where you should be focusing your time based on your preferences and based on your sales style. So before I go into that answer, let's go ahead and play with this algorithm game. You know, as you know, I have channels already on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as well as like Twitter, Snapchat, or what have you. And we have this algorithm game that we have to play, whereas more engagement that we get, the more likely it is to be suggested or to be promoted to other people who are not within the community, and it helps the channel grow. So let's help somebody out there by discovering this channel and putting it in their feed. And we do this right now by hitting the subscription button. Don't forget to hit the bell, hit that thumbs up, and then don't forget to comment below and share it with someone who you think can find benefit within this video. I appreciate you. So going back to the topic, the reason why I think it's important to identify, you know, whether or not being a purchase loan agent or a refinance loan agent is best for you is because whatever platform you work in or whatever lead type you get, I think that they are both different type of sales. And so let me give you an example. So with a purchase loan agent, you're going to notice, especially if you're in retail means that, you know, you're outside and you're making relationships and you're out chasing referral partners. Being a retail loan officer who mainly focuses on purchase, you're really doing more or less a business to business sale. Now, granted, you are still selling consumers, because at the end of the day, you still got to manage that prospective buyer in staying with you, listening to you, doing what you want them to do, right? Like, don't apply for, you know, loans or credit, or don't go and buy a car when you're in the middle of escrow. Like, what are you doing that for, boo? But most of the time, you're really actually just networking, and you're creating these relationships that are going to feed you consistent business, right? Leads and referrals and new opportunities. And so I think that, in my opinion, if you're first, we have to understand what kind of person we are, because we have to be able to be natural within our sales mode. And if we're not natural, we tend to sound very scripted. We sound like we don't belong. And because of technology, because of media, and the plethora of options, I think it's very important not to sound weak in whatever you do every single day, because there's a specific sound and tonality that comes out when you're being fake and you're being ingenuine. But when you're being real, and this is just natural, then you're actually going to attract, because it's foreign, it's different from what you hear on TV or what you hear on a commercial. And so instinctively, I think a lot of people will gravitate more towards that message. And why you need to understand what kind of person you are is because if you right now are not a natural networker, like you might have a LinkedIn account, but you don't naturally have a network. Like, oh man, I know somebody who knows somebody. Are you that type? Like you could be in a group of friends, right? And I think every pocket of people has a natural networker, and you could tell they're the natural networker because they have a friend who knows a friend, or they have a friend that does this, right? They always got the plug, they always got the hookup, right? Like he's the dude that got you the hacked fucking Amazon's Fire Stick, right? Like he's the reason why you're watching, you know, he's the reason why you're watching them rip movies right now. But it's always that plug, it's always that connect. Like I know someone who knows someone, and they can hook you up. And so why you have to be a natural networker is because when you are a retail loan officer, you are out networking most of the time, right? Like you have to network, and your business is going to rely heavily on your ability to network. And so if you're not naturally a networker, then you're going to struggle, because most of the time retail loan officers who are focused in purchase business don't have the means to create consistent inbound leads or consistent inquiries, unless they're enrolled into the sales boost camp. Then they know exactly how to create consistency with leads. But anyway, that's not the topic today. But if you, let's say on the flip side though, if you are a call center purchase loan agent, right? Because there's two different types. There's loan agents who are outside loan agents, and they're usually in the street, but they're not provided the resources, so they're not provided the leads by the organization, or in most cases salary, or even like a base, right? Like so they're full commission, but they generate a lot, so they can make 150, 200 basis points in some cases, 300 basis points, whatever. But you are literally on your own. You are an entrepreneur at that point. And but you have to be able to network. You have to be good in crowds. You have to be a good presenter. You have to be comfortable in your skin. You have to know your products, right? You have to be confident because you're now in their face. However, a loan agent focused on purchase business who is in an inbound call center, it's complete opposite. You may get a little bit of lower pay. You might have a base salary. You might have an hourly wage. But most importantly, you have an influx of leads. So you got constant leads coming your way. But still, at the end of the day, you have to be patient, because it's not like a refinance where you can originate, put it in the pipeline, and just let it go on its way. So in 30, 45 days, you know, ideally it closes. Like purchase, you're doing a lot of farming. And so you're farming data. You're doing a lot of work up front with the expectation that it will someday transpire into a deal. And so you have to be very, very strict with your time management, and be very efficient with your copywriting. Your copyright is basically it's copyright are words that sell. It's words that influence. So whether you're talking to someone, or you're texting them, or you're communicating, it's your basic form of communication. And the reason why copywriting skills are very important as that agent is because you need to be able to penetrate their way of thinking. When I say there, I'm talking about your prospective buyers, your pre-quals, your pre-approvals. And you have to influence them in a way where they stay loyal to you, because at the end of the day, you're giving them a certificate to go shop. So it's like you're letting your first kid go out and go to college. You're like, oh no, people are gonna try to influence them, right? And they're gonna try to do things, and it's like you get this anxiety, and you have to really have confidence and a system put in place, like the system that I share at inside the Sales Boost Camp. Very efficient system. Keep you in front of your prospects, keep you in front of them, and say the right words, write the right words. There's correct templates to use already laid out for the students inside that Sales Boost Camp. But you have to have a system. Anyway, on the opposite side of the division though, when you got refinance sales agents who primarily work, let's say, in an environment where they're not necessarily given leads, and so they rely on very minimal resources. Maybe you're calling on aggregate leads that applied like 3-4 months ago, and you don't really know, right? You don't really know if they did business yet. you have to be efficient with influence. So you don't necessarily have to be a networker in order to be successful in refinance, because you're just solely focused on one person. You're not focused on that one person's auntie, grandma, coworkers, cousin, right? Like you know what I mean? Like you don't got to manage as many contacts. You don't have to manage as many connections in the relationship. You're just talking to that one individual. So what's key is you need to really understand how to read people. You need to understand how to identify issues and problems and be efficient with providing solutions. You have to like to want to help people, and you have to like to use your creativity and your access to an NMLS license number as your bridge to hook people up, right? And that's how it has to come out. Well, in the purchase side, like it's kind of the same effect, but you're looking at things in a bigger scale, and you have to have more patience. Where in the refinance side, you get to do business very quick, right? And so that's primarily the difference between them both. But to answer the question, which do I think is going to be best for you, is going to be dependent on how you operate. So it starts with within. So you need to know how you excel. Like, are you a natural networker? Then go be a purchase agent in retail. Are you patient? Like, are you hungry for cash, and where you're gonna be impatient if you don't see deals flip, like the pipeline flip? Like if you're not making 10, 15K plus in a matter of 6 months, are you going to start panicking, right? Like, is that the primary goal? Then if that's the case, maybe purchase isn't necessary for you, because you have to have patience. You have to expect that it's going to take about a good 6 to 8 months in order for you to hit the ground running or to start seeing the return, unless you enroll into the Sales Boost Camp, which is at salesremastered.com, and I give you the exact system and the basis of what you need to be put in place in order to start producing high results. But again, you know, it's always an option. What I found, and what's odd to me, is people will actually refrain from investing into the solutions and answers, because sometimes we're just kind of addicted to the grind, and so we want to figure it out. We want to take that challenge. But a lot of you motherfuckers are impatient. So for those of you motherfuckers who are impatient and just need to make some cash fast, regardless, purchase, refinance, or whatever, then enroll into the Sales Boost Camp, because I got all the answers, all the templates, all the solutions, all the scripts, all the modules, all the videos, all the content that's going to help you climb much, much faster. But for those of you who can't afford it, you know, I want to tell you that it really comes down to your way of operation. So if you're primarily a natural like speaker, like a natural networker, then purchase is going to be for you. And you got patience, and purchase is going to be for you. But if you're fast and you're better with dealing directly, like you may be, you know, not necessarily a natural networker. Like you got friends, but you don't, you know what I mean? Like you're not out there finding out who your friends are, and who your friends connections are, and who your friends connections are, right? So you just kind of see it as this expanding network. If that's not necessarily you, then stick with refinance, boo-boo. Even if you see the media saying, oh, it's going to be a purchase market, what's great about it is they both feed each other hand in hand. Like purchase will ultimately become a refinance will ultimately become a purchase, and it's just always in cohesion. Like, you know, that's why I'm so baffled. Like a lot of purchase agents don't pay attention to refinance. Like, what do you think your clients are going to do in a matter of 6 to 8 months, in a matter of 12 to 18 months, right? And what happens is they end up refinancing. And so if you knew how to do both, and you understood the processes of how to properly manage both, like use a system, preferably the system you find at the Sales Boost Camp, you're going to be able to manage high quantities of deals operating at once. And so your pipeline is a combination of both. And so my answer on that note, in case you're wondering, like, you know, when they ask me what do I think is better, purchase or refinance, my answer was, I believe both can offer a great deal of opportunity to the right agent. However, the key though to finding success is to be able to master both. And so if you want to master both, you got to pick up the program at salesremastered.com, which is the Sales Boost Camp. If you want to understand the system and then get creative yourself without the mentoring or the one-on-one guidance, then you have the option to get the secret formula. That'll cover all your skills. If you're a refinance agent and you're just primarily looking to close, and you just want to hit, you know, home runs like out the park, and that's all you're doing, right? You're just selling refinances, then the Closing Secrets 101 is for you. It's so efficient that not only does it pay for itself, but it gives you the tools necessary so you can avoid that 6-week, eight or 6 month and 9 month climb, right? Like that delay in building up your pipeline, building up the income, building up the revenue, building up the relationships. And I think that is going to be your ticket to give you the confidence you need, because either side that you're in, refinance or purchase, one thing that you will need is confidence. One thing that you will need is preparation. And definitely one thing you will need is a guidance by an experienced mentor who's already at the level that you want to be at, and who's already seen the moves and made the moves that you need to learn in order to reach that point. And that's where you find salesremastered.com, the Sales Boost Camp, or the Secret Formula, or Closing Secrets 101. Just invest in yourself, learn the game. And once you learn the game and you learn the process and you learn the cycle, not only can you duplicate it, but you can scale it and you can grow it, right? Like, how important is that to you? Otherwise, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna wait for something, Bitcoin, to come back? Are you waiting for Bitcoin to come back, bro? Don't do it. Invest your time, go all out and invest in yourself, because yourself is the actual vehicle that's going to take you to where you want to go. And I hope you get to the highest heights that you imagine, and I hope that I can be on that ride with you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit the subscription bell. Hit the subscription bell. Don't forget to hit that bell, and don't forget to also like the video, comment, and share it with someone who needs to see it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.